the slope of a line, you need this formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and once we have that, okay, you can go through and label these x1, y1, x2, y2. Nick, what are you doing? Put a pencil in your hand. Help out with me. Okay, what is my y2? What did I label y2 as? Negative 9. Negative 9 minus, what is y1? Negative 18 over, what's my x2? Negative 6 minus, what is x1? Negative 19. Okay, hit your fraction button on your calculator and type all of that in. It does everything for you. It's just a matter of putting it on the equation. Okay.
You still alive?
Yeah. Okay, I know what I gotta say wrong.
How about now?
Just go. Okay, when you guys typed that in, what did you get? 9/13. Somebody agree? Yeah. Okay, and so that's our answer. We found our slope with those two pairs of points. Okay, for the next question, these all go, it says find the slope and the y-intercept. These go in the form of y equals mx plus b. Whatever is here is going to be your y-intercept. Whatever is in this spot next to the x is going to be your slope. Okay, so if we look at 51, my y-intercept is negative 1. That's here. Okay, and my slope is negative 1 also because there's a negative 1 right here. Okay. Okay, 53, it's going to be in that same form. Okay, y equals mx plus b, where this is my y-intercept, and that's my slope. Okay, so it's going to be y equals, what is my slope? What does it say the slope is? Negative 1 over 2. X. What's the y-intercept? Negative 3. Okay, and I'm not trying to rush you guys, but you better start answering and writing fast, because the packet's getting done today. Tomorrow you're getting a new one. Okay, for this next one, we're trying to get it in that slope-intercept form. Okay, your steps are always going to be the same. To subtract the x's and then divide by the number with the y. Okay, those are always the same steps. So, what are the x's? What does it say? What number is by the x?
So
2. So we're going to say minus 2x minus 2x. Okay, so I'm going to get negative 5y equals 25 minus 2x. Okay, I can't combine those, so they just get all written on one line. And then it says to divide by the number that's next to the y. Well, what number is next to the y?
25.
Try again. Negative 5.
Oh.
Okay, and you got to do every piece by negative 5. Okay, so it's going to look like y equals, well, what is 25 divided by negative 5?
5. Negative 5.
-5. Okay, and then for this part, I got a -2 divided by -5. Okay, and that part you would have to do on your calculator, okay? And then -2 divided by a -5 is gonna be a positive 2/5, and we still have that x there. Okay, this next one, you will need this formula, y equals, just kidding, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, where the x1, the m, and the y1 are the stuff that you're plugging in, okay? The plain x and the plain y, they're already gonna be there, that's part of the formula, okay? And so, we can go through and label this as x1, y1, and what letter do I use for slope? What letter do we use for slope?
M.
M. We always use an M for slope. Okay? And I can see here that I got an x1, I got a y1, and I have an M. So I have everything that I need to put into that formula. Okay? So we got y minus, what is my y1? What did I label as y1? 4 equals, what's my M? -5. X minus, what is my x1? -1. Okay, does anybody remember, what do I do with a minus minus? You gotta put them together and make it a plus. So where this minus minus is really just gonna be a really big plus sign. Okay, so we kinda cover it up and it's gone. And you do need to change that to a plus sign. Okay, again, for this next one, I'm trying to get it in point slope form. I do have to use two different formulas for this one. So the first formula we're gonna need is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, which we did earlier, okay? The other formula that I'm gonna need is this one, y minus y1 equals my m x minus x1. Okay, and the steps go in those exact same steps with those exact same formulas. Okay, it's just a matter of labeling these as x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, what is my y2? What did I label y2 as? 0 minus y1, 4 over x2. It's also 0 minus 4. Okay, and so you're going to plug that in your calculator and see what you get. What'd you guys get? 1? Okay, and so 1 is really, this is my M. Okay, so that's my M. I got 1 for an M. And so we're going to use this formula now and this stuff, and we have everything that we need to plug it in. Okay, and so I'm just going to draw a little arrow down here. Okay, it's going to look like y minus, what is my y1? 4 equals my M. What is my M? 1. I found it. Okay, 1 x minus my x1 is also 4. Okay, and so this is our final answer when we're all said and done. Can I scroll? Okay, 61. Essentially, you're trying to get y by itself. Okay? We need it to be in this form, y equals mx plus b, but essentially you're trying to get y by itself. So if you just look at that as an equation, what do we always do first? Okay, when you see parentheses, what does that tell you to do? You gotta distribute, okay, or multiply. So, and you're gonna have to use your calculator for these because they're fractions, okay? So, 2/3 times x is gonna be just 2/3x. 2/3 times -3, and that's where you're gonna have to use your calculator, okay? So, you're gonna hit your fraction button and say 2/3. Okay, and then you have to hit your over arrow, so that way you're not typing underneath on that bottom part of that fraction. And you're gonna say times and then -3. Okay, and what do you get? -2? That sounds correct. Okay, and so is y by itself? No, so what is next to y that needs to be moved? The 3, okay? So we're gonna say +3 and +3. It's gotta go under this just plain 2. So we get y equals 2/3x plus 1. Okay, and if you had to write these in steps, your first step is gonna be to distribute. Okay, and then you're gonna add or subtract by the y. Okay, so those are the steps if you have to write them down, if you need them, if you cannot tell what they are, okay? It's gonna be to distribute, same thing on 62, you're gonna distribute that 4, and then you're gonna either add or subtract the number that's by the y, which in the other case is 5, okay? Okay, 63 says write the slope-intercept form. So your first formula you're going to need to use is the point slope, which is y minus y1 equals my m, x minus x1. Your second step is going to be the same steps as number 61. Okay, so you would do step 1 on here, and then step 1 and step 2 on there. Okay, but again, the steps just build onto each other. Okay, and so we can go ahead and label this as x1, y1, and my slope is my m. Okay, so I got y minus, well, my y1 is 2 equals my m is -1/2. X minus my x1 is 4. Okay, and so this looks exactly like the problem above now. Okay, and so I said put it in this form and then do the same steps as 61. Okay, well 61's first step says to distribute. Okay, and so that's what we need to do is distribute. Okay, so you're going to times both of these. That's going to give you y minus 2 equals -1/2 x plus 2. Okay, so we distribute and then it says add or subtract the number that is next to the y. What number is next to the y? What number is next to the y? Yeah, a -2. So are we going to add or subtract that -2? Add it. Okay, so we're going to add it to both sides. Is it going to go under the 1/2 or the 2 on the other side? Under the 2. So that's going to give us a 4. Okay, again, I know this is a lot of stuff, okay? It's everything from day 1. Okay, so stick with it, take the notes, and then you should be okay. By the time you do this for 3 days, then, my hopes is that you would be all right. Okay, 65, you gotta use all three formulas. So your first formula is gonna go like this. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, formula 2 is gonna be that y minus y1 equals my m x minus x1. And then 3 is gonna be the same steps as 61. Okay, so it looks just like this one and the one above it, except for you gotta find a slope first. Okay? Were you here yesterday?
Yeah.
Did you start on this? I don't think you get the name wrong. Make sure you get your name wrong. Okay. Okay, and so we can go ahead and start to label. I got x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so for step 1, I got 5 minus negative 1 over 2 minus 0. Okay, so plug that in your calculator and see what you get.
We still working on this?
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you should have gotten a 3. Okay, and so the 3 is my m. Okay, so for this next part, we're gonna say y minus, my y1 is negative 1, my m, x minus, and my x1 is 0. Okay, and again, that minus minus makes a positive. Okay, so right here is really going to become change and get a +1. Okay, that says the same steps as 61. What is the first step on 61? Say. Hopefully you wrote it down. What does 61's first step say? Distribute. Okay, so we're going to distribute. Okay, so 3 times x is going to be 3x, and 3 times 0 is 0. Okay, well, what's the next step on 61 say? Add or subtract. So in this case, are we going to add or subtract? Subtract the 1. Okay, so we're going to say minus 1, minus 1. So we got y equals 3x minus 1. We got like 4 left, and then everything else, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 left, and then everything else is what you just took a test over, so those ones will go really fast, okay? So just hang on. I know it's a lot, I know it's hard. Okay, there are 3 things, okay, positive, negative, or none. So positive is looking like it's going up, okay, our dots. The negative ones are looking like they're going down. And the no correlation is just all over the dang place. Okay? For linear, quadratic, linear is going to look like a line. The quadratic is going to look like a U. Okay, even if it's only half a U. And the exponential is going to look like it flattens out, okay? Or it kind of starts and just goes. Okay, but you're going to see that like it's just going to stay at 0, okay? So if we look at 67, does that look like positive, negative, or none? It looks like a none. And if it's a none, then it's none of these as well, okay? So if it's a none, it's none of these, okay? If it's a positive or a negative, then you also have to pick one of these, okay? So this is going to be a no correlation, or you can say none. Okay, 69 says solve by graphing. you guys just graphed inequalities and those are way harder than these, okay? So we start off with 69 and we graph this one as number 1. Where does that graph start? Where do we start graphing it? The 4 or 1 over 4 or the 3?
3.
The 3. Okay, so go to the y line and find the 3. Negative 3. Okay, and we're going to go up 1 and over 4 which way? I need a negative line. So we're going to go up 1 and over 4 to the left. Okay, or I can go down 1 and over 4 to the right. Okay, so that's my first line. Line 2 starts where? Where does this one start?
2.
At 2. Okay, and my slope is a negative 3 over 2. So I can go up 3 and over 2. Okay, or I can go down 3 and over 2. Down 1, 2, 3 and over 2. Okay, and we want that intersection point. Okay, and what is that intersection point called? What's the coordinate there? Okay, and we go x comma y. Okay, what is it on x-wise? Okay, well here's my x line, so what is it at?
4.
At 4. What is the y at?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Okay, this next one, I call it substitution easy. Okay, which will make sense when we do this. Substitution kind of sucks because there's not a lot of steps for me to write for you. Okay, which one do we circle? Does anybody remember? Okay, we circle the one that says y equals, and we're going to plug it into the other one up there. Okay, so it's going to look like negative x minus 2, and instead of y, what am I writing now? 7. Equals negative 8. Okay, and I mean the steps are kind of always the same. You're going to circle the y equals, you're going to distribute, okay? So I got negative x minus 14 equals negative 8. Okay, a lot of times you're going to combine next, but in this case we can't. So we're going to add or subtract. Okay, so we're going to say plus 14, plus 14. So I got negative 1x. What is negative 8 plus 14? 7? 6? 6. And then our last step is always to do what? Divide. Okay, so these ones are called easy because normally you would take this and plug it in up here, but we already know the y. What is the y? 7. Okay, so we can go ahead and write this as a coordinate of negative 6, comma 7. Okay, 73, I call it substitution hard just because it's a little bit harder than the other one because one of them's not solved all the way. So again, you're still going to circle the y equals, which is this bottom one, and plug it in up there. Okay, so it's going to look like negative 2x plus 4, and instead of y, I'm writing 6x plus 5 equals negative 24. Okay, again, we're going to distribute. So I got negative 2x plus 24x plus 20 equals negative 24. Okay, I can combine these two x's, so it's going to be 22x plus 20 equals negative 24. Okay, we're going to move our third wheel, which is the 20. Okay, and then we're gonna break up that couple, AKA, in this case, divide. So we get x equals -2. Okay, now, on the other one, the easy one, this is where you could stop. On this one, that's not truthful because we don't have the y solved. Okay, and so we have to take it and plug it back in up here. Okay, so that says y equals 6x plus 5. Okay, well, I know my x now. My x is -2. So we got y equals 6 times -2 plus 5.
Wait, this is the same question.
7, huh?
That's the same question?
Mhm. Okay, and so when we plug that into our calculator, we're going to get -7. Okay, if you recall, what should your numbers be smaller than? 10. Okay, if they're not, then something's wrong. I don't know if we're going to finish today. Okay, this one is elimination with adding. Okay, and so we add the two equations together, okay, and the two right here cancel, okay? The negative x and the x cancel. When we add these other two, I'm gonna get -8y equals 40. Okay, and then I'm gonna divide by -8. That's gonna give me a -5. Okay, and so now I take this and I plug it into either equation, okay? And so it doesn't matter whether you pick equation 1 or equation 2. I'm gonna use equation 2, and equation 2 says x minus 5, instead of y, I'm putting a -5, equals 25. Okay, and so that's gonna give me x plus 25 equals 25. Okay, because I'm distributing right here. Okay, and so I'm gonna minus 25 from both sides. So I'm gonna get x equals 0. Okay, and so I can write this as a coordinate of 0, comma, -5. Okay, these ones are the subtraction. Okay, so 2 minus 5 is going to be -3x. Well, 6 minus 6 is 0. And 24 minus 6 is 18. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 3, -3. And I'm going to get a -6. Okay, again, the same way as before, you take it and plug it into either equation, okay? So we can use equation 1 or equation 2, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to use 2, so that's going to be 5, parenthesis, because I know my x is -6, plus 6y equals 6. Okay, so that's going to be -30 plus 6y equals 6. Okay, I'm going to add 30 on both sides. I'm going to get 6y equals 36. Okay, and then I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. So we get y equals 6. Okay, so my coordinate is -6, comma 6. Okay, 79 is the ones where you need to multiply. And then you can add, okay? So, you just kinda gotta ask yourself, well, what do you wanna cancel, X's or Y's? Okay, and if we choose, we'll just do the Y, but if you choose the Y, which one's smaller, 4 or 3? 3. Okay, 3 times what gives me 4? Nothing. Okay, so it can't be that one. Okay, so if we do the X's, what's smaller, 10 or 20? 10. So that's the one that's going to get parentheses. And that's the one we're going to times. 10 times what gives me 20? 2. Okay, so equation 1, nothing's changing. So I got 20x minus 4y equals negative 28. Equation 2, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 2. So it's going to be negative 20x plus 6y equals 16 and 16, 12, 32. Okay, and then we can add these two equations together, and I'm going to get a 2y, and I don't know, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. Okay, and that's going to give me a 2. I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it into an original equation, okay? And it doesn't matter which one. Again, you can plug it into the top one or the bottom one. Okay, so it's going to give me a negative 10x plus 3, and instead of y, I'm putting a 2 equals 16. Okay, so I'm going to get negative 10x plus 6 equals 16. We're going to minus 6 from both sides. Okay, and I'm going to divide by negative 10. No, the bell's gonna ring soon. Sorry. I said yes, but then I thought about it. I forgot. Okay, we're gonna stop here. However, I am going to write you notes for a couple of the ones ahead. Okay, just that way if you need them. Everything from 81 to 98, we literally just did. You took a test on it on Friday. Okay, it's all new. There's nothing crazy going on. I would say like you could rip your packet off, but some of you guys will need the notes for those. Okay, so for all of these, is this an open or closed dot? This is a closed dot, okay? And so this one is open, okay? And so that's all the notes that you would need for numbers 81 through 90, okay? So, and that's about all I can give you for those. Okay, go to number 91. Okay, notice how these are and ors. What does an or look like? Yeah, so ors look like they're pointed out, okay? They're out away from each other. One can be open, one can be closed. What does an and look like? Yeah, the and is together, they're pointed in, okay? And so those are the notes that you would need for that. Okay, and then the last section, number 95, 96, 97, 98, is the graphing, okay? And so the graphing is the one where you would need the most notes, okay? If it's like this, is that going to be dotted or solid line? That's a dotted line. Okay, and so this is going to be a solid line. Okay, so you would pick something from this box, and then we got the other one is looks like that is going to be shade above. And then we got shade below.